I'm watching a video by Just a Dude Practicing, Gabriel, as usual. He's working on my method, the Van-Hemert system, and he's been working on book 2. He finished that book, and because he finished it, then as a reward, you get book 3 for free. And he was practicing that a little bit last month, but he was also practicing improv. And I wonder how he's doing, because he does a progress report every first month. And this is his progress report for July. I haven't watched it, so I'm very curious to see how he's doing.
Hey, this is Just a Dude Practicing. This channel is the riveting, real-time tale of a dude trying to get better at gypsy jazz guitar. I upload every single practice session, so you can see all the details, everything that goes into my process anyway. The overall goal for now is to be good enough to gig, and that means rhythm, soloing, all the other stuff that comes with it. So
that is a very good goal. I would I don't know if I said before, but I think the first goal should actually be to jam first, because gigging is basically, it's a sort of a jam in the sense you're playing with other people watching you play as listeners, as audience, and maybe even paying for it. So I think first jamming and then having the experience of playing with other people is probably an important step before. But I do know some people that actually never jam and are in a band, because the advantage is, if you're in a band, it's very confined and formula, right? You rehearsals, you have an arrangement, and you have a defined role. So maybe he's right. Maybe gigging is actually a good goal, but part of the fun of playing this music is really also the jamming.
This is my monthly progress report for July 1st. And in these progress reports, I like to go over what I'm working on, how things are going, what's improved, challenges I'm facing. So I was gone for almost half of June. No. So I got back from my trip and I got right back into practicing. So the first question that I always start off with is, am I better than I was a month ago? Well, I've only practiced 13 times in the last month. So I'm getting better at the things I'm working on, which I'll go into in a little bit. My technique palette seems to be expanding a bit because of, again, the things I'm working on. A lot of bends, a lot of sweeps. It's a different sound.
Bends and sweeps, so that's probably book 3 then, because book 3 is about Django, and there's, of course, if we talk about Django, there's lots of bends. And there's lots of sweeps, because Django plays lots of this stuff, you know, like the... which is all sweeps, which is very difficult to do, because you got to do that, and then also still swing. So you got to control those sweeps. It's difficult to do.
Than what I had been doing previously. I have a few go-to licks recently that I've really come to enjoy playing, and that just seem to fall nicely under the fingers. So yeah, I mean, I'm better, but you know, I've only played 13 times in the last month, so you know, nothing significantly improved. So, like I said, I didn't play for 2 weeks when I was gone. I was on a trip. I didn't bring my guitar because I didn't want the extra luggage. I was staying at my sister's house. Didn't want to annoy anyone with, you know, endless repetitions of licks and phrases and all the fun stuff that goes into practicing. I said this in the last progress report, but maybe when I start gigging, I might, you know, start traveling with the guitar when I need to. But for now, I didn't want the pressure of having to practice when, you know,
it would be hell for me to 2 weeks without an instrument. I mean, the chapter also is called Guitarless for 2 weeks, man. That's because I'm addicted to practicing. I really am. I don't wanna say I want to practice constantly, but I'm thinking about it all the time. And it's not that I feel guilty if I don't practice. It's just that I really want to practice. I wanna learn more stuff. I wanna transcribe more stuff, work on my technique, work on time, work on all that stuff that is important. And it didn't used to be like that when I was a kid. You know, when I was studying classical violin, I actually hated practicing. I realized I had to do it to get better, and I was addicted to performing, and probably getting the attention that goes with that. Maybe it was more for that than actually loving the music in retrospect. But I hated practicing. And the reason why I love it now and I hated it then is because then I had to practice stuff that my teacher said I had to practice. And I couldn't make a decision about what I wanted to practice myself. And I understand why that was necessary, especially with like classical practicing, especially with a highly technical instrument like violin. It's like they know what it is that you should practice to get better, or at least they're supposed to know. But now when I practice jazz, I can basically practice what I want. And of course, he's practicing my book, so I'm wonder what he's going to say about that. But when you have my books, of course, you kind of have to practice what's in the book. But you don't have to. You could do what you want. But if you want to be part of the system where I watch your videos, you're a little bit in that position of having to practice what the teacher says, right? So that's the difference maybe between following a methodology and just being on your own.
I was on a trip for other reasons. So during those, well, I guess it was close to 2 weeks, I did get a little antsy.
There you go.
I was in a room, there was a cello, and I messed around with the cello for a little bit just to do something. It turns out I can't play cello. My sister had this...
I maybe should interrupt you, but that reminds me of, I had, as every musician has had many talks with people that are interested in hearing about what it is like to play an instrument if they hear that you're a musician, right? Usually the conversation goes like, oh, what do you do? It's like, I'm a musician. Oh, what do you play? Well, I say I play guitar or I play violin. And they say, oh, I tried it once, or I'm not musical. Usually say I'm not musical at all. So it's kind of, it's always good to hear from someone that is musical. And I say, what do you mean you're not musical? It's like, well, I can play any instrument. It's like, well, did you ever try it? Yeah. I tried to play guitar for like a week, and I can't do it at all. It seems like it's a skill that you should be able to determine if you're good at it in a week or something, which is impossible. As you all know, as musicians, that you don't know if you're... In fact, I want to say that everybody could do it if you spend enough time at it and have a good teacher or have a good methodology. But what you don't know is if you actually are willing to put the time in. So that is something you can only discover like maybe in a year or something, 6 months, maybe even longer than a year, because you never know what can happen. Maybe you meet somebody that's inspiring, or you find the right method, or you find the right model, like an artist that you really admire and you read about what he did. So you never know. But to discover if you are capable and willing to put in the time, that's going to take longer than a week, probably.
This little toy ukulele, and I thought, oh, I'll tune this. I think I was a week into the trip. I was like, oh, I'll tune this thing up and maybe, at least strum a little bit. I tried tuning it. One of the tuners completely popped out of the guitar. So I had no luck. I was completely guitarless. I was kind of worried that I was going to get back from my trip and have a hard time getting back into the rhythm of, finding 2 hours or close to 2 hours every day again.
I can see that, yeah.
But getting back to practicing wasn't as bad as I thought. I told myself before I got back, I had this kind of script running in my head. Look, we're going to get back home. We're going to start the routine again, and that's it. So it was a little rough. I haven't hit 2 hours every single time, so I don't know what that's about. I blame jet lag for the first week.
That seems reasonable, yeah.
Anyway, I'm getting back into it, but it's kind of amazing how even a relatively short break can threaten to derail everything. So. Oh
no, that happened to me many times. Not with music, by the way, but for instance, I spent a whole year seriously studying chess because I wanted to get my chess.com rating up. So I started around 1400 rapid, and then I spent the whole year learning or studying my chess openings, doing puzzles, and I got to 17 something, 1720 something in a year, which is certainly not amazing, but it's also not bad, you know. And then I had to teach. So I was practicing every day. I had a tablet with me, and I was playing every day, studying every day. And then I had to teach the camp with Stochelo, Paulus, and Stochelo and Paulus. And that week, I brought my iPad or brought my tablet. I was like, I had the full intention of spending time, and until then, I was actually able to do it. Even when I was like on the tour or something, I could always find the time to do it. But once you're in a gypsy jazz capsule like that, where everybody wants to jam all the time, and I just jammed every day. All day, I taught first, and then we would be jamming, and we had a good time. And then I was tired, went to bed. The next day, same thing for 5 days. And when I got back, I completely lost the will to spend more time. And I haven't played seriously since then, which is already 2 years ago. So I can completely see where he's coming from.
Luckily, when I started...
Holy crap, Christiaan, I just started working on chess and I'm only 700. Well, I met a kid in our kid. No, he's probably 17, something, if I have to guess, 17. I met him in Samaro, and he told me like he was watching my videos, really trying to learn, doing technique exercises, and really loved my videos. And we started talking. We talked a little bit about games, and he also started talking about that he was also working on chess. I said, "What's your rating?" And his rating was 1900. So it's like, oh, okay, so you're much better than me. So what's your rating? 1700. I said, well, that's not bad. That's not bad. So to be honest, 700, 1700, 1900, we're all bad. That's all bad. It gets serious from like 2300, which we're never gonna make. So
practicing again, it wasn't too bad, like technique wise. Like I didn't like lose everything. The first couple of days were a little choppy, but it came back pretty quickly, which was nice. Let's see. Normally I talk about changes, but I guess I'm not doing that this time. So when I was away, I actually had a chance to meet up with someone from the Discord that I'm a part of. That's
nice.
Christiaan. I've been saying his name wrong. I've been saying Christian. Christiaan.
It's very good.
Van-Hemert's Discord.
Very good. You say my first name correctly. Now the last name, I heard you say Van-Hemert, which is fine, but it's actually Van. So if some people have the difficulty saying that if you're not from the Netherlands, that ah sound. But if you think about Vaughn, like Van, that's closer. That would be more like a German way to say it, christiaan-van-hemert, but that's closer already to what it is. But I'm completely fine with Christiaan-van-hemert. I've heard it so many times. But the first name you say correctly, now, Christiaan. I don't think the ah sound actually is in English, so that's already a good job. But the ah sound, do you have that? Van, ah. I'm thinking about a word that has that sound in it. All. Van. Yeah, it's a little bit of the A like O or y'all, That A, Van, is actually in my last name.
And I've been using his books for most of this year to learn how to solo. He's got a great system.
Thank you.
Where essentially you learn licks and phrases in all 12 keys. So you really learn the fretboard well. You learn what needs to go where, like phrases for 2-5-1s, for major, minor, for dominant chains, all that good stuff. Anyway, so there's a Discord that's very active, and I had a chance to meet up with one of the guys from the Discord. That was really interesting. He's an accomplished guitarist, so we sat down for a few hours, and
yeah, I know who he met. He met a person in my Discord called Carrington Swing, and he's a great player. Gabriel here posted some photos in Discord. It's great to see people in the Discord developing their own activities outside of the system, right? So outside of the books. And it's happening more and more, right? So in the Fontainebleau, the people also met there. They jammed together. I jammed with them. I met them. I met there some Super Jazz Grandmasters, some people that have lower titles, right? You earn titles in my Discord by finishing chapters in my book, and then you get a title which is similar to a chess title, but that are J in front, like jazz. So jazz grandmaster, for example. Like Gabriel here is the highest level because he finished the book, so he's a jazz super grandmaster, JSGM. It's for fun, you know. It doesn't mean that you're a super grandmaster at jazz, but it does mean that you spent at least 100 hours on one of my books, probably much longer. So that's happening. There's a monthly meetup in my Discord for people that are struggling with certain things in my book. It's called frustration venting. Right? That's all developed without or initiated without me doing it. And he met up with another player in my Discord who is now he should be a jazz super grandmaster because he's very good, but he is now a 3rd level. I think he's doing a speed run now. He's doing a speed run through book 3, which is not easy to do. And he finished 3 chapters until now. And I think he did it in like 2 weeks, which is very fast. So he met up with him.
He told me his story. His was much more impressive musically than mine. I think he said he's been a professional guitarist since it was either college.
Hey, he's holding a Delrin pick in his hand. This one. So he's probably going to talk about that. But last progress report, he was still talking about the Gator Grip. There's a green one. And then I said, you know what? Most people play with this purple one. So he's holding a purple pick here.
Or just before college. We talked about so much that some of the details have kind of fallen away. But it's just really interesting to hear other people's progressions. You know, kind of how they've approached
What I also noticed...
I've only seen his...
is he's palming the pick like this. Right? I'm not good at that, but he's palming it very naturally. So I'm thinking maybe he did some coin magic when he was younger. Maybe he's gonna comment. Did you do some coin magic? Because I see you palm the pick and it was very fast, natural. So
gypsy stuff. He's really good. He's got great technique. But apparently he's done rock and funk and every other genre you can think of. So turns out he's taken lessons with a lot of the top names in the gypsy jazz world. He plays with Paul Melling. I think that's how you say it, Melling. I think he's called the godfather of American gypsy jazz.
True.
So he's in his band.
Paul Melling is the guitar player of the Hot Tub de San Francisco. With a violin player called Evan Price, which for me is my favorite violin player in the style. And it is true that Paul Melling was one of the first American players to really bring gypsy jazz to the US in a authentic way, in the sense that he went actually to Europe and played with some of the Sinti in Paris, learned from them, and then went to the United States and started playing. Now, it's important to realize, of course, at that time, there was no knowledge outside of the Sinti that were playing it, right? There was no books, no one was really talking about it. It was kind of a mystery how it went. But then also within the Sinti, they had no experience teaching it really to someone, especially outside the Sinti community. So Paul Melling had to take home what he could learn from the Sinti that he met on the trip. And some of the information that he took back was good. Other information was not maybe the most accurate, but which he found out later, of course. Because talking to more people, and right now it's very easy to get all the information. Like you could just watch my channel and all the information is there. And I got it immediately from the source, Stochelo. Not so much by him telling me how to do it, because also he cannot really teach it, but because I had unlimited access to him playing and hundreds of videos and I could analyze all of it. So it's much easier now to learn it. But Paul Melling really took the initiative of bringing that style to the US in an authentic way for the first time. So yeah, you could say he's the godfather of American gypsy jazz. But Carrington Swing, which he was talking about, he plays in that band. I think he's a rhythm guitar player. He's an amazing rhythm guitar player. He's also a solo player, good solo player, but also an amazing rhythm guitar player. But he played with pretty much anyone that comes to the US and needs a good rhythm player, like Duvet Dunievsky. I think he probably played with the French guys as well. I don't know who, Sebastian Nio probably. Like all of them, like because it's difficult to find good rhythm players. It is just difficult to find those because they don't need only to be have a good sound, which is already difficult, but they also need to be able to learn songs quickly, because every artist has their own repertoire, right? So you're limited to people that can do both. So in the Discord, we have another person like that, Gian Compuesto, who also has played with all of those people. And it's probably because they have a good rhythm sound, but also they can learn tunes quickly, and they have good stamina, which is very important. You need to be able to play rhythm for the whole evening at very fast tempos, right? If they play Lyman blues, it's going to be like... and it's going to take a long time to do that, and song after song, you need to be steady. It's really a specialty job.
And yeah, we talked about a bunch about festivals. I actually haven't been to a festival yet, but I hope to one of these days.
You should.
And this is random, kind of a tangent, but whatever. This is my channel. You can click away if you want. I thought about starting my own festival, because they don't have a Gypsy Jazz festival where I live. I thought, it'd be really cool to start it, get the ball rolling, and eventually have a lot of big names here and have classes and workshops.
Yeah, that's difficult.
But I talked to Dennis Chang about it, because he was here a few months ago, and he told me a bunch of details that I hadn't considered. Things like the difficulty of getting professionals here, paying them, which, funny enough, I hadn't considered. I thought if you build it, they will come, but apparently it's not that easy.
No.
And one of the main issues is visas.
Yeah.
So I don't live in the U.S. And anyway, the Gypsy Jazz world, all the top players are scattered around the globe. So you need to, actually get people here. So anyway,
Well, there are some good players in Korea already. Maybe not the top level, but good players that they could play there. Yeah, I understand what Dennis is saying, because I know, of course, Dennis is a good friend of mine, but I also heard him say this before to other people. So I have two thoughts. First thought is, Dennis is absolutely right. It's very difficult to organize a good festival, because there's so much more than what you can think of. First of all, you need a good location with good sound. That's already going to be a problem to arrange that, because there might not actually be any sound engineers available that can handle situations like that. It could be difficult with amplifying these instruments. So that is difficult. Then you need to bring this artist, and now there can be many problems here, right? So do you want to get like real Sinti, or do you want to get just like non-Sinti? If you want to get real Sinti, there might be a language barrier there. They might not speak English, so they might only speak French, right, or only German. It's getting better, of course, but let's say you want to get one of the godfathers here, then yeah, you need to. It's difficult to arrange those things, and then the visas. It's all very difficult. And then when they're there, you need someone to drive them around that can translate stuff. Very difficult to do. That's my one thought. The other thought is, though, that it can be done. Right? I'm not saying that you could do it or that you should do it, but maybe, you could do it. A good example is the Paul Schaefer camp in the Netherlands. Now, I know they consulted Dennis when they started, and Dennis warned them also. It's like, listen, it's not the same thing, right? It's not a festival. It's more of a camp. But Dennis has a lot of experience with camps, because he's been teaching at Django and June from the beginning and teaching at other camps around the world. He knows what goes into it. He had the homestay program. So he warned us, listen, there's a lot of things that you have to organize for this. Catering, different facilities for people to be able to sleep, right? You need to have good teachers. You need to have a teaching program, lots of stuff. And he was right, of course. And they started anyway, and they started small. So that was the thing. They started very small. And they started in 2015, almost 10 years ago now. And the first iterations of this camp were a success, but it wasn't what it is now. Now it runs like in Dutch we say, goed geoliede machine. So in English you would say, there's probably a good saying for it, but if I translate it, it would be a well-oiled machine. Maybe you can actually say that. And it really runs like that. organization of that camp is top notch, right? They have the program down. They have very good food. They have very good locations. You can get a hotel. You can use a dorm. You can camp. You can bring a camper. There's transport from the airport to the camp. Everything is arranged to the last minute. But of course, this wasn't like that in the first camp, right? This grew over the years. They have a good team now. So I think if you organize a festival, if you want to do that, then just start small. Start with one local band, which you have in Korea, I know, and one more international artist. And don't go for the biggest name. Go for a reasonable name, right? One that is gonna attract some people, but doesn't require thousands and thousands of dollars to get there. One that a guy that likes to go there, right, and is also very cooperative in that sense. And then you could do it. There's just 2 concerts. Maybe you could do a workshop, like a short workshop, not too long. And then you start like that. And then you get to know people in the community that like to get involved with that, right? They want to help. They want to be part. And you get to know some of the people that are jammers that want to be there. And they have ideas. So just start small. And then grow it bigger and bigger. And you get a bigger and bigger team. So that's the way to do it.
Excuse me? I probably won't be starting a festival anytime soon, even though I've had it in mind for a long time, but Dennis Chang kind of convinced me not to. So, all right, moving on.
Start small.
This is actually a really big change. So in the last progress report, I talked about how I changed picks.
Oh, here we go.
So I was using the Dunlop Gator Grip 2mm, and after, I talked about this in the last progress report, but just to recap, someone asked me about picks on one of the comments on my channel. And they said they were having trouble and it felt awkward and, have I dealt with that? And it turns out they were using a 3.5mm. And I was like, well, that might be the issue. Because if you look at a list of the top players, they're all using thinner picks.
Not all, but most. Yes, most. Not all, right? So, for instance, Paul Schaefer is actually using a 3mm, I think. Or it's 2.5, but the Wegen pick. Ollie is using a thicker pick when he plays Gypsy Jazz. Moses is using a bit of a thicker pick, I think 2.5. Gisbert Graaf is using 2.5. So now it seems like all the top players are using 2.5. No, but most players, so I'd say 75% of them, of the top players, the named players that you heard about, they are using thinner picks.
Like almost all of them are using 1.5 or within that. Like just under 2mm range.
Yeah, definitely.
So I replied. I told him, maybe that's the issue. As an amateur, right? I'm very hesitant to give any sort of advice because I'm just a dude practicing, trying to get better. But I thought about it, and I'm like, you know what? Why am I using a 2mm? If all the people I respect are using thinner picks, why don't I? So I went with the Dunlop Gator Grip 1.5. It's the green one. Has a nice texture, nice rough.
Actually, that's the green one that you talked about last time. And I see that David Schenkerman here in the chat says, I actually switched to the Gator Grips because I found one in my case. I lost 3.5mm on pick size. So you went down and you were using a very thick pick on an artstop because you don't play artstop. But why? And now you have the Gator Grip. Oh, that's fine. I think on artstop, that picks were fine. But I would still try a Delwyn. I use this Delwyn on both artstop and Gypsy guitar, and I think it has a little bit of a better sound, in fact. A little bit of a rounder sound. So I think the Gator Grip has a little bit more of a pop, like a attack, and a little bit of a colder sound. This has a little bit more of a warmer sound and less attack, but you can get the attack back by just playing with more attack. You cannot get the warmer sound from the Gator Grip. So that's, for me, the reason to play with this one. I would, and the same goes actually if you use it on the artstop. It's the same thing.
Texture. So I was like, this is it. This is the pick I'm sticking with. I'm never changing. Like I am not interested in
very good
being on a constant search for a better pick.
Very good.
This is it for now. And then Christiaan-van-hemert did a a reaction to my last progress report.
Yeah, I
and
talked about this one.
He spent a bit of time talking about picks. And basically he said, and he said this in the Discord too, in other videos, he goes, no one uses the Gator Grip 1.5. He goes, just go with the Delrin 1.5. It's a smooth one, and don't look back.
Again, maybe I said no one, but there's certainly some people that use it, I'm sure. But there's also people that have used it. So I know that Gonzalo Berga was using it, but the most recent times I've seen him, he was playing with a Delrin. And I just came back from the Fontainebleau Festival, and I was jamming there for 8 hours a day on the camping site with superb players, and almost all of them were using this pick. Certainly the best players I played with, they were playing with this pick. And there can be many reasons for it. I love the sound. There's no click, right? So there's no noise with this pick. It sounds good, sounds warm. You can play fast with it because there's very little resistance. But the most important thing, and you cannot underestimate it, is that this pick is super cheap and easy to get. The problem with the thicker picks and the more expensive picks is that you're gonna lose them eventually. I know there are people that have never lost a pick. I talked to Rino van Hooydonk. He plays with a very expensive, super thick picks. He told me he never lost a pick. Well, that seems almost impossible to me, and most people I know have lost multiple picks. So you're gonna lose them, or you're gonna get to the gig and you didn't bring your pick. And it happened to Paul de Schaefer. I had a gig with Paul de Schaefer, and he said, I forgot my Wegen. I can't find my Wegen pick. I can only play with that pick. And then very luckily, I had one of those in my guitar case, right? And I gave it to him because I said, you keep it because I don't use it. And those picks are expensive. They're like 20 euros or something. That's going to happen. It happened to Stochelo. I was at a gig. Stochelo couldn't find his big city pick. And there was some panic. He had to play with a Dunlop, and he hated it. So that's the thing. In the end, you have to play with this anyway, right? So you better get used to this because it's easy to find. It sounds good. Once you get used to it, you realize, you know what? This is actually the best pick I've ever played with. So, yeah. I see. A fun fact, the Gator Grip is also made of Delrin, but it does have something added to it that changes it. Yeah, so the thing that they added, I don't like. That's basically what I'm saying. And I bought like 72 of these for like 30 euros or something. And I have like 12 in my guitar case. And it happened in Samoa twice that somebody didn't have a pick, his or a pick with him. And they asked me, do you have some picks? I said, I only have these Dunlop, and they had to play with it. So it's gonna happen.
So I thought about it, and I was like, I wasn't gonna change, but you know what? If the people I respect who play way better than I do are all, not all of them, but a lot of them are going with this particular pick, I should just do it. Now I tried the Delrin a long time ago, and I found it too slippery. It's very smooth. This is what it looks like, by the way.
Yep.
So completely smooth. I felt like it was kind of, it would move around when I would play, especially rhythm. It was always kind of changing positions. But again, if it's highly recommended,
the pick, I also told you before, this pick moves for everyone. But not only this pick, like every pick moves. At one point, they can all move, and it sometimes happens. And it happens very rarely to me now, but sometimes it does happen. Then you have to just re-grip it. Now, if it happens, yeah, it happens. Right? You could do a break. Like if you play rhythm, you could do like... so it's turning, right? You could do something like that. So it's not the best thing, and it shouldn't happen every tune. But it can happen. Something can happen, and I wouldn't worry about that too much. Now, if it happens all the time, that just means you're not used to holding it. It will get better.
Who am I to say, that's not good enough for me? So,
well,
actually, I went to.
I was at the camp with Paulus, and Brothers wanted to demonstrate something for a student, but his guitar was in another room, so I was there. I said, "Can I use your guitar?" I said, "Yeah, sure." And then I gave him this pick. Said, "You play with this?" So, I mean, then he played with it, and then it actually sounded fine. But he was like, "I don't like this." So, you get used to the pick you're using, and that's what I'm saying. It doesn't really matter what you use, but if you can choose, better to get used to this one, just because of the availability and the ease of getting it, right? It's just a comfortable feeling that you can go anywhere and get it.
To a guitar center when I was away, and they didn't have it. So as soon as I got back, the day I got back, went to a shop, grabbed one. So yes, I have changed picks, and I will again declare I'm not changing again.
Good.
Now, I don't love it yet.
I'm not either changing
I'm getting
again.
used to it. It is a little bit slippery, but if I just kind of wipe the sweat off a little bit with a paper towel,
Does that work?
it's
Oh.
fine.
Okay, I should try that. I've never tried that.
I mean, I've only used it 13 times, so well, I guess 14 because I just finished practicing a few minutes ago. I am starting to like it a little bit more. I am noticing some sweeping motions feel a little bit smoother. I mean, that could be my imagination,
Maybe.
so I don't know. But yeah, big change. I switched picks, and I don't plan on changing ever.
And play with the side. So if you use this, play with the side. I don't want to hear any of the excuses. I'm not talking about Gabriel. Other people think, "Oh, play with the point." Don't play with the point. Nobody does that. Really, nobody does that. And the reason for that is that you just get a less nice sound. It's a little bit thin. You know, this is much warmer. And also, it's probably easier to play fast. So it's two things. You want to have more pick behind the string for the warmer sound. So if you play with a point, you get less. Now, on an archtop, might not make big of a difference, but actually on the gypsy guitar, it makes a big difference. Not only for soloing, but also for rhythm. Like playing rhythm with the rounder side, it's just much easier. There's less resistance.
So we'll see how long that lasts. Tune in for the next progress report. Okay. This is not...
So Randy here says that he's using the gauge grips. Did you try the Delrins? And also, why use gauge grips over Delrins? I wonder, because I actually cannot find a single reason to do it, except for maybe the reason that Gabriel says that they turn less, but they don't sound better. Definitely not. And I don't know what's the reason to use that one. They're the same price, so yeah.
so much a change as it is an update. So I've dealt with pain in my left hand before. My these knuckles of my left hand, my fretting hand, felt bruised, felt very stiff, and I was worried that I was kind of entering into the realm of tendonitis. But seems to be totally fine now.
Oh, that's good.
It was getting better. Then I went away, stopped playing for 2 weeks, and I'm assuming that really helped. So the left hand seems to be fine. What I'm working on now is very similar to what led to the problem, I think, which is like endless repetitions of stuff I've already memorized. So it's like I'm not going slow. I'm not going note by note, just trying to figure out phrases and licks. I've got the stuff I'm working on memorized. So now I'm like, again, doing endless repetitions at slight, and speeding up the back.
Yeah, it's tough to hear about that. There's many musicians that struggle with this, and for me, it's very difficult to say anything about it because I've never had these issues. I'm just very lucky with that, but I never had issues with my hands or like any discomfort. So I'm probably very lucky there.
Tracks on the metronome. So hopefully it doesn't come back, but I fear I'm doing the same exact thing that caused the problem in the first place. So we'll see. As for the right hand, I had a bulging disc in my neck. Seems to be okay. My first two fingers were completely numb I mean, like basically glove anesthesia.
Wow.
But that's down 97% if I had to put a number on it. So, I mean, it didn't really interrupt my playing or disrupt my playing in any way. I mean, it was a little disconcerting not being able to really like feel the pick. But yeah, that seems to be better. So there. That's good news. All right, next
Definitely.
change. So I've been juggling. Okay, so I finished book 2 of the Van Hemert system. And I've talked about it in all the other progress reports, but basically what it is book 2 is 10 chapters, and the first 7 chapters were sets of licks or phrases. And the first chapter was major, the second chapter was minor. There are a few chapters on 251s, and there's a major 251 chapter. And the idea is to play these licks as a set in all 12 keys over a backing track at 170 BPM.
Right.
So I did that. It took a while. It took about 2.5 months. It was 70 practice sessions.
Yeah, so it makes it seem very easy when he says that, but he would like 70 practice sessions, and I think it's still pretty fast. So that we talk about 140 hours. Some people are taking much more time, and that's completely reasonable, right? It's very difficult to do, and I talked to multiple people about that when I saw them during the camp I was teaching or in France. It's very difficult to do it on camera. So once you have these phrases down, and you can play them through all 12 keys, which is already very difficult with the backing track. I mean, the backing track doesn't stop, right? You have to continue. You have to find all these phrases in all those keys. And let's say you can do it, but now you turn on the camera, and you know, okay, Christian is going to watch this. I mean, this is what I've been told by people, right? So Christian's going to watch this, and you have 3 lives, so you can make 3 major mistakes. Like, you can always make small mistakes, that's not a problem. You can 3 major mistakes, and you can restart in the key where you stopped. But let's say you are on your last life, and you have to still do 3 more keys out of 12. You actually get very nervous of making a mistake, which will probably lead to a mistake. And then you have to do the whole thing again. So it seems almost cruel that I require that of people that buy my book. But don't forget, you get a free book when you finish the book. So it's not nothing, because these books are not cheap. But there's a reason why it's there. The whole reason why the system is there is to just make you practice for hours and hours. And I was thinking about how can I force this upon people that buy my book. Because the reality is you can only get good by practicing a lot. And I mean like a lot. How can I ensure that people are doing this? Well, here it is. Like, you have to do this very difficult exercise in 12 keys and make a video. You have to then repeat it so many times and practice more and shoot it again that you're going to spend so much time with your instrument. And I've been saying this in multiple videos. Like, the most important thing is the actual time you spend with your instrument practicing something that is difficult. And that is useful also. So this will just get you into this mindset of just spending hour upon hour upon hour. So that even when you finish with the book, you're used to spending this time and getting frustrated and doing it again and again and again. Because that's what you got to do for years.
Of just about 2 hours each. I did it. I really enjoyed it. I had a lot of fun because the work was clear. Right? When I sat down to practice, I knew exactly what I was supposed to work on. It was, getting these exercises down, getting these licks memorized, up to speed, and kind of ingrained well enough that I could get through a whole, through all 12 keys for a set without making too many mistakes. And then I finished the book. And then I was like, all right, well, now what? I need to work on rhythm. I need to work on, applying the phrases to soloing, right? So get them out of the kind of pre-programmed static set and start, gaining some flexibility with the material. So I was working on that. I also I got book 3, because if you can pass book 2, you get the next book, or either book 3 or 4, or later on when Christiaan-van-Hemert has more books, you get to choose one of those.
I'm working on book 5 right now. Should be hopefully finished in October, at the latest November.
for free, which was awesome. So I chose book 3. So I was doing a little bit of book 3. I was applying some of the book 2 material to soloing or composing solos. I was doing a little bit of rhythm. I was trying to work on my vibrato, which still sucks. And I was getting a little overwhelmed trying to juggle everything. Meanwhile, I was starting to really fall in love with book 3. Not just the clear-cut...
Book 3 is about Django, but only in the 30s. So it's the language of Django that he used in the 30s. Which is already a long period, of course, because he played very different in 39 than he was doing in 33. But still, it's the 30s. And later on, I will write a book about Django in the 40s and 50s.
Work, right? Again, knowing when I sit down, work in the exercises, get the technique down, I know what I need to do. So I was in the last progress report, I think I mentioned I didn't really know, I was still trying to figure out what it was I wanted to do. I left, thought about guitar quite a bit. I got back and I just decided, you know what? Guitar right now is fun. I just, for the most part, I get frustrated a lot. But I just want to enjoy the things that I'm doing. And luckily the things that I'm doing are, all things that contribute to growth. And I'll have to get to everything eventually, right? I'll have to get to rhythm eventually, and I'll have to finally figure out my vibrato or work on it long enough. I'll have to learn melodies and memorize the chords to songs and all that fun stuff. I was like, well, what do I want to do right now? And I just want to work on book 3. So I decided I'm going to focus on Van Hemert system, book 3. Worry about other stuff later. I know, I do need to work on actually putting the material to soloing.
I can't argue with what someone wants, right? And I certainly can't argue with someone wants to learn more of the material in my books. I mean, that's why they're there. Let me think about that, right? So I think it can never be bad to learn more vocabulary and to spend time with my books. Because if you spend time with my books, you're also working on your technique and you're working on your timing. And it's very important because if you send me an exercise, and Gabriel knows this, if your timing is bad, you can't pass. So I got an exercise the other day from someone and it was pretty good, but the timing was not perfect. And this was someone that was going for the highest title. And if you go for the highest title, the timing has to be perfect. Otherwise, you cannot pass. So I told the man, it's very good, but I'm sure you have to do it again. Work on these points. And today, he sent me the video again. I watched it already. I didn't comment yet. And now the timing is perfect. So then you can pass. Then you will pass. So there will be a new Super Jazz Grandmaster later today. I will make an announcement. So it's never bad to work on the stuff in my book. But... and this is very important to realize. Like, getting good at improv is not the same as working on my book. There is in the Venn diagram, there's a point where there how do you call this? It overlaps, right? But there is much more, and Gabriel knows it. I know that there's much more you have to do to get good at improv. And there's lots of things you have to do. One of them is jamming, for instance, right? You have to jam with other people to test your skills in real life. Another thing is that you have to work with backing tracks and try out the phrases. The problem with that kind of practice is that it is very difficult to find progress doing that. Because progress will be so slow that you will rarely feel this exhilaration of like, oh, I finished it. I can do it. Which, of course, you will have with my books because there is this exercise you cannot do and you practice and you can do it and you send me a video and I said, hey, job well done, go to the next chapter. That is a good feeling. And I know this from when I was studying classical music. That is a good feeling. So even if you're practicing something that you don't like, because, right, the teacher says you have to do this, once you can do it, you have this feeling of having accomplished something. And practicing jazz improv, this feeling is very difficult to actually get or find. Or uncover or something. It's because you're always working on something that you might show up in the improv, might not, and then you've been working on it for 2 hours, then you go to lunch, you come back and you already forgot it. If you're a jazz musician, you know what I'm talking about. Getting a new concept, phrase, or chord, scale, whatever it is that you want to use in your improv, in your actual improv to show up seems almost impossible at times. Or most of the time, it seems impossible. So how do things eventually show up? I don't know. I haven't cracked that nut. I do know that eventually stuff will show up. Not everything you practice. No. I mean, I've practiced thousands of things. I average, or I always say, I think about 15% will show up. But not when you want it to. It could be months later. Now, I do know that if you practice the stuff in my books, and Carrington Swing has commented on that, because you have to repeat it so many times, that it will show up quicker than other methodologies out there. Now, I haven't done that myself with the material in my books because, I'm always writing a book. But I actually want to start an experiment where I do that. And I'm going to start that this week. It's going to be called I've practice these 5 licks for 100 days. And I'm going to see what happens when I practice 5 phrases, one phrase per book, so also a phrase for my upcoming book. And I'm going to practice that in the way that I suggest in the books and see what happens. You can follow that. I'll make some videos about it. But what I want to say to Gabriel here is that I would still try to do that for at least 20 minutes of your practice session. 15 to 20 minutes. Just take one phrase. Take it to a backing track. 1 or 2 phrases, but let's do one phrase. Take it through a backing track of mine where you go through the circle of fourths, play with a backing track for one round, and then just take one tune. Let's say we take Coquette and just play it on that 2/5 there, or that on the 1 chord. Just give yourself a couple of choruses, just to get yourself into the mindset of using these phrases outside of the set exercise. Now, I understand you want to work in book 3, and I understand it completely. I love the stuff in book 3. It's great stuff. But I still think you need to do it a little bit every day, if you can. Or at least, let's do it 2 times a week. Don't stop that completely.
All that, but right now, I'm still getting the techniques down. I'm still, trying to expand my palette of techniques. I think I mentioned in the beginning of the video, my vocabulary, things like that. And I don't know. I just want to focus on the book for now. So that is the plan. That's what I've done the last couple of weeks. Last 13.
Yeah, I always say to people, okay, you got to practice in jazz. You got to practice what you want, because it's very important that you don't get too frustrated or too bored. But except for, say, technique. If your technique is not very good, but I think Gabriel's technique is actually very good, then you need to work on technique for at least 15 minutes a day. I do my technique exercises or learn a waltz or something. But for Gabriel, I would say, okay, forget about technique. I think your technique is good. I know what you do for technique, but it seems to work. And maybe practicing the set exercises is already for you good enough to improve your technique. Make that 15 minutes a day, then practicing improv. Or if you don't want to do it every day, twice a week, just set a timer. Say, okay, 15 minutes. I'm going to take one phrase, take it to the circle 4th of the backing track, and then I'm going to apply it to Coquette. Just do that. So when you start doing it again, you're not having to start from an absolute 0 point, both in level and attitude. Just you're already used to doing this.
14 with today, practice sessions. And so after book 3, I think I'll be, I say it now, but I think I'll be kind of satisfied with how much stuff I know. And I'll have enough where I won't feel bad just working on applying the material.
If you're like me, you'll never be satisfied. I had a long talk with somebody at Potter's Camp, because he watched the video where I said, it was a conversation with Gabriel. I said, I'm actually selling myself short on what I'm capable of by not just sticking with what I already know, because I know a lot of vocabulary. Right? It's people are always commenting that even in jam sessions, how many phrases do you actually know? Because I always seem to play something that I didn't play before, or I just came up with something that seems to be completely new. It's like, how many phrases do you actually know? It's like, I know a lot of phrases. That is just a fact. I know a lot of phrases. I know a lot of chords. I know a lot of tricks. And I said to Gabriel, like, actually, you should just stop learning new vocabulary and just work on what I do know and getting that better and connecting better. Be more like someone like Stochel or Moses, who kind of have their vocabulary down, right? They know what they want to do. They still add maybe new stuff, but not a lot, because they just work on their sound. I should do that too. And just get better at what I'm already capable of doing, which is a lot of different vocabulary. But if I'm honest, I'm just addicted to learning new stuff. I just like that. I like transcribing. I like discovering a new guitar player, or I like discovering a new video by a guitar player I like, and I like transcribing it. I like working on it. And you know, I just write books then. So maybe I cannot get to the highest level with all the new stuff I learn, but I can at least write a book about it and think about it, you know, and teach it. So and maybe one day I'll wake up and say, okay, now it's enough. I have the plan of writing 10 books, 2 books a year. So I'm now writing book 5. There will be the second book for this year. So 6, 7, 8, 9. So 3 more years, and then the 10 books are finished. So I'm like Gabriel in the sense I say, okay, after 10 books, I probably am happy with the vocabulary I have transcribed. Maybe then I will wake up and say, you know what, this is enough. I'm going to stick with what I know. But, you know, I say that now. I'm kind of addicted to just transcribing new stuff, learning new concepts. I don't see that addiction waning anytime soon. Who knows? Who knows?
I won't feel a necessity to necessarily add anything for a little while. So I haven't submitted any of the exercises. If you've seen any of the other progress reports, you know what I'm talking about. But basically, when you play all the licks or the phrases as a set in all 12 keys, so backing track at 170 BPM, and you do it without too many mistakes, you send that video to Christiaan-van-hemert. He looks at it, and you pass or fail. And he gives you notes as well.
Yeah.
So I haven't submitted any of the exercises, but I'm getting close.
When he, let me tell you that, look, so when you are at the highest level, of course, you cannot get a high title, but you can get points for the leaderboard. It's like a game, right? It's a gamified system, and a lot of people have had severe doubts when I started that. I even had a guy getting very angry at me at social media for doing that. I have no idea why, but it's like a game. I would say it's like a MMO or something where you just try to defeat a boss, and in MMO in the sense that there's a whole community of people also doing that and talking about it, maybe giving each other tips. And then when you do that, when you defeat that boss, that exercise, which is difficult, it gets more and more difficult, then you get a new title, you unlock some new content, some loot, rewards. But once you get to the highest level, then you cannot unlock new titles. But now you get points for a leaderboard. So if you can do an exercise perfectly without stopping, then you get 100 points. Or if you stop one time, you get 50 points, right? There's this system. It's all explained in my Discord. And then once you get 500 points, that's a new thing. That was not, I didn't think of that, but another member of our Discord, you can get a star. For every 500 points, you can get a star. So there's always a leaderboard where you can see your points. And right now there's 9 Jazz Super Grandmasters. 10th will be there today. So these 10 people can compete for the leaderboard points. But for every 500 points, you get a star. So now we have, at this moment, we have one star Jazz Super Grandmaster, which was also the very first Jazz Super Grandmaster, David Schenkeman, in my Discord. He was the first Jazz Super Grandmaster to get that title, and now he's also the first 1 star. He has 700 points, I think, and there's a guy below it, Darren Brown, who has 400 points. So he's almost at this 1 star. But I think once Gabriel starts sending all those exercises, then he will also very soon get the star. And some people, I got some comments like, I'm not interested in titles. Okay, but that's fine. You don't have to get those titles, but it is fun. And it is something to keep you practicing if you need that motivation, if you like that motivation. I like that motivation. I was thinking of doing a road to Grandmaster in my own Discord. I don't think I have time for it because I have this other project with I'm studying this 5 things for 100 days. I'm writing a new book, but I would want to participate in my own game. It seems fun to have this kind of goal, this sub goal, which is achievable. It's not like, okay, I want to be able to play a solo on Donna Lee at 280 BPM. I mean, that's a goal that can be years or a decade away. That's not fun, you know. But this is fun, right? Okay, this set exercise, and I'm getting a title, or I get points, and now I'm a 2-star jazz super grandmaster. Yeah, it doesn't mean anything when you get to your gig or the jam, but it does mean something in my Discord, and it means something. It can mean something for yourself because it shows you that you really worked at it. It also shows that to other people, right, that are also working on it, like they can see, oh, look, maybe practice harder now. Also, can get this title. It gives you some kind of notoriety in my Discord because if you comment on something and you say something and you can see the title in your name, right? It says 1-star jazz super grandmaster. It means more than if your name is just Orange, which means that you have one of my books but didn't level yet. Now, it's not a matter of life and death here, right? It's just all for good fun, but it's not meaningless.
Most of the chapters, and I've kind of found that I like learning them kind of early on before I intend to submit any of the exercises, and give them time to like kind of marinate, right? Give them time to really sink in, so that when it comes time to try to pass the chapter and submit the exercises, I really have them, and I'm not still struggling to memorize them or struggling to actually play it. I can be a little more relaxed with it.
Yeah, it's smart.
Also with book 3, there is one particular triplet lick that, triplets were a big holdup for me of book 2. There are a lot of chapters that took me like 4 or 5 weeks to complete because of certain triplet passages.
Yeah.
And there are some tricky triplets again in book 3. There is one lengthy triplet lick.
Which one is he talking to? I think I know which one. Let me check. Book 3, triplet phrase. I think I know. It's in the 251 chapter. And it's one where Django is playing on the 1 diminished chord. Yes, I see page 31, phrase 10. Very difficult. I don't think I could play it now. Let's see. Let's very slowly. 3, 4. Is this correct? That's correct. Yeah. That's correct. Okay, let's do it faster. 1, 2, 3. I have a feeling it's not correct. No, it is correct. 3. That is a difficult phrase, Gabriel. I remember actually having to play this for making the videos. That is difficult, but it's a very good phrase. Django plays this phrase with open strings. If I'm not mistaken, I don't know which tune it is again. It could be. I think it's a tune in B flat or F or something. Maybe it's like You Drive Me Crazy. No, it's like Running Wild, something like this. 1 and 2. Yeah, Django plays it with a lot of power. Yeah, very challenging. But that's a great phrase. I should practice that one myself. Okay, what did you say here? The titles in the book are definitely great motivators. Also, the fact that you review the submissions, all that stuff makes it much more than a book and more like a fun college course or something. Oh, thank you, Randy. Somebody else said that there too, actually, live to me in Samoa. Seems like almost like a college. But thank you. Yeah. That the titles is, of course, I came up with that idea with the titles and stuff. But the whole idea of gamification is not mine, of course. I read a paper by I think the first PhD in gamification. Now I forgot his name. Scott Nicholson. Yeah, Scott Nicholson. So Scott Nicholson is the first PhD in gamification. I watched a lot of his stuff. I read the article, and I was very much influenced by his ideas about gamification. And since I am a gamer as well and played video games all my life, I know that, as stupid as it might seem to get an achievement in a game, it's something that will keep you playing, keep you motivated to continue. So I thought, something like that should exist for something as frustrating as learning to play jazz improv. So that's why I came up with it. Now, it's not Nick Paling, so it's Scott Nicholson. Maybe there are now more gamification PhDs, but I know he was the first one, or at least that's what I heard. Scott Nicholson, look him up.
That is proving to be very difficult. Despite my work on book 2, Triplets, this one is a little bit different. I'm not sure why, but yeah, I kind of top out at 95%. So we'll see. If you're curious what it sounds like, I played it for a while in today's practice session and yesterday's practice session. So we'll see. All right. This is kind of another change. My guitar needs a setup, I think, because it sounds pretty... I'm sweating like crazy. It's really hot now. My guitar sounds pretty out of tune in the higher frets. So when I hit like the 13th fret and E, like when I hit an F, a high F, 13th fret, I got to bend it a little so that it's not so flat.
Okay.
It's probably the heat and humidity. Unfortunately, I don't really treat this guitar very well. I never put it in its case. It sits in the room.
How many guitar players are putting a guitar in their case? You're right, though. If you want to treat it really well, you have to put it in a case with a humidifier and stuff. I have some. I never use it. I mean, most guitar players I know don't put the guitar in the case. It's also not very good for your practice habits, because an instrument in the case just means you practice less. Because if your guitar is in a stand, and I have behind me 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 guitars, all in stands, that means you practice more, and that's important. Yeah, the tuning, I'm not a luthier, but that could be many things. Maybe it needs to be refretted. Maybe your truss rod needs adjustment. Maybe your bridge needs a new bridge. Maybe it needs to be moved or something. There's many things. Best thing to bring it to someone that really knows what to do. So in the US, I would say go to see Tommy Davey, but you're in Korea, so I have no idea how it works there. But now Tommy Davey is in the US. This guitar, it's a new guitar, by the way. It's a Duffell guitar, beautiful guitar. Jerome did the setup, and he did a great job, and it's perfectly in tune. So he's probably also a good setup guy, but I don't think he will do setups for other guitars than his own. Very important to have to do that once in a while. But yeah, like most guitar players, it's not a priority, even though it should be.
I pick it up, I do my practice, I put it down.
In the chat here, somebody, you should just slide the bridge a bit to start, and that's true, right? So if you play a harmonic here at the 12th fret, and you press the note, and you check with the tuner if it's too high. If the fretted note is higher than the harmonic, it means that the string length that is a little bit too short, I think. So then you can move the bridge a little bit back, or you can make like a little bit, just put that side back, right? If it's too low, I think you should move it that way. I could say it completely other way around. Just check that. But I know I solved some tuning issues with another instrument like that by just moving it a tiny bit back, and then you can probably fix some of the intonation issues or get a lot of the way there.
And I don't have a humidifier or a dehumidifier. So this is all my fault. But the guitar is sounding pretty rough right now, even if I tune it. And the other problem is my tuner doesn't work anymore. Last time I tried tuning my guitar, it told me every single string was a D. So I guess I need to solve that as well. All right.
According to Randy here, I said it correctly. So your tuner doesn't work, but you can use a tuner on your phone. I have a very good tuner. I have the Polytune. I have it. It's in my guitar case. Always forget to take it out. So even though it's great, 95% of the time I still use a tuner on my phone. And I tried many tuners. This I found to be the best one on Android, but you probably have iPhone. It's called. Actually, I don't see the name, but there's one has this thing here. I like that one best, but I think in the end, most tuning apps will probably be fine.
What else? So in the last progress report, I said that one of the things I wanted to improve for the month of June, despite being gone for half of it, was I wanted to start posting on the community tab again. Now in the community tab
of YouTube, then
what I like to do is I take screenshots of pretty much every comment.
Oh yeah, I remember
and
that.
my reply on my videos, and I post them as pictures in the community tab. And I was pretty good about it when I was gone, and I got back and started practicing and just sort of let that go. So we'll see. I'll try to get back to it. I still really like the idea. And I will eventually, but let's see. Oh, this is not really guitar related, but this is channel related. And again, it doesn't really matter, but my subscriber count kind of stalled. I think I've maxed out the number of people who are interested in subscribing to the channel, where it's literally just a person practicing.
I can talk about YouTube stuff forever, man. Let's see what he says about it.
I had someone comment the other day. I think they're pushing their SEO service or whatever. And they're like, well, how come you have 202 or 3 videos and no subscribers? I'm like, well, because I don't teach. I don't talk to the camera except for once a month where I just talk about myself. I'm playing a very niche genre of music. I very rarely put up any sort of finished product, right? I have 5 shorts that are sort of finished products. So I only mention it because it'll be nice to look back a few years from now and we'll see. But I didn't expect anyone to subscribe when I started the channel. I thought I would sit at 1 or 2 for the next few years. And I kind of told myself, if I get awesome, then it'll have been worth it, and then maybe then people will start subscribing. But there have been 860 something people.
Even if you're awesome, you're not guaranteed of people subscribing. I mean, I know many guitar players that are way better than me that have no subscribers, so it's not that.
Who find value or whatever in the channel.
I also know a lot of guitar players that are much worse than me that have many more subscribers, so there's that.
So it was a bit of a downer. I mean, it's happened a few times that the subscriber count has stalled, but unfortunately, every time it happens, I fixate on it. No. I hate that. No, but after a few days, once it's stalled...
I know all about the YouTube roller coaster. The ups and the downs, mostly downs. That's the problem. I know all about it. I even made a reaction video to another YouTuber stopping that chase of subscribers. I reacted to it because here's the thing. Everybody starts a channel more or less like, I mean, you hope, of course, people watch, but you have no real, well, assuming it's your first channel, right? You have no, you don't attach your self-worth or your worth as a musician to your subscriber channel, to your subscriber count. But maybe that's a little bit overstated. You don't have any expectations about how many subscribers you're gonna get. That's better way to say it. But once it starts rolling, maybe you have a viral video. I had a couple of viral videos. You're like, wow. And a lot of subscribers will all of a sudden come out of the woodworks, right? I had a viral video about in the beginning for my channel, which is a stupid video where I was just ranting to the camera. And that video just gave me 5,000 subscribers out of the blue, right? Starting from like 900, which I got from like just posting performance videos. And then bam, 6,000 subscribers in like 2 weeks or something. That you feel like you're on on a cloud when it happens, right? Because you think, wow, I really got something going here, right? So this is really something. And also, when your channel is monetized, that video kind of monetized my channel immediately. That video actually starts making money, right? And for every, I don't know, like 100,000 views, you get like I don't know, $300 something. And you think, okay, so I gotta keep making videos like this. Maybe it was a video I wasn't really interested in making, but I started making more videos, but they didn't really do well, right? Subscribers still came in, but started kind of slowing down. And then I had the viral video, so it's even worse. And it slows down to having 5,000 subscribers in 2 weeks to having 50 subscribers in a month. Like stuff like that. And it's just so demoralizing. But I kept going, right? And I trying to find formats that worked. Formats. So here's the thing. I was not making formats anymore because I was enjoying that format. I was trying to find formats that worked for subscribers or for views. Mostly views, because many views also means subscribers. And then I maybe had a format that kind of worked, but I wasn't happy with it. And then it made me very unhappy, or it made me kind of dread making new videos. And I tried to switch the format to something that I kind of liked, but also brought subscribers. And this is a never-ending process of trying to find a balance there. At one point, I decided, you know what? I don't like this anymore. And then I got the idea of writing a book and doing the Discord. And that I really enjoy. I really enjoy this kind of stream. I'm streaming right now on Discord. You'll probably see this on YouTube later. But I'm streaming on Discord. There's some people here in the chat that I all know. Maybe not personally, but I know from my Discord. Some of the people I know personally. I met them, you know, and they have some comments and I react to it. Gabriel, of course, we talked, you know. And I don't really care about YouTube anymore. Sometimes I throw a video up on YouTube, but I'm not getting any major search and subscribers anymore. I have like 35,000 and it has been like that for months now. And I'm getting maybe like 1,200 views per video, which is nothing compared to my subscriber count. It's also nothing compared to my videos like 3 years ago. But I don't care because my outlet now is not YouTube. It's just something I throw videos on, which I think are nice. And I'm so much happier as a content creator not having to fit into this YouTube algorithm or what the algorithm requires of you to get viewers. It's a terrible thing. That is a terrible thing. But here's the other thing, right? So I'm just throwing shit up on YouTube, reaction videos and stuff. I say low effort content, which it really is, because I'm not sitting down transcribing something for YouTube, using multiple cameras to film me playing a solo that I had to practice very hard. I'm just throwing stuff on YouTube where I'm reacting to videos like this. Or I just describe something I really like and I'm streaming and I put it on YouTube. But I met so many people during my past 3 weeks of traveling and teaching that really love those videos. I'm surprised. Like people say, you know, I watch these videos every day. I'm watching them while I drive. I'm watching them when I fall asleep. I'm thinking about them. Please make more of them. So, you know, I keep doing it and I keep putting it on YouTube. But I don't really care if it gets a lot of views. Of course, it's nice if it gets a lot of views. But if it doesn't, I don't care. If no new subscribers come, I don't care. I only care about playing and making music. But like for content creation, I care about my Discord and my books. And that's where I put all my heart and soul, and I really enjoy doing it. So for you, Gabriel, you're not, of course, making books and stuff, but you are just practicing my books. I understand what you mean, and that it sucks to have your subscriber count flatlined, and maybe we'll pick up, maybe won't. Be careful getting addicted to the views and subscribers, because it is it's a dangerous place to be in. And I haven't been to the place where you get depressed, but there's so many YouTubers where they get depressed having to fit into this grind of getting views, because you're not in control of it. The YouTube algorithm is in control of it, because you can make the same, you know, I had this video where I did a solo of Django of Night and Day. Just there's like 3 versions, but I did one of the versions. And it was exactly the same video as all the others before and all the others after it. Right? Same concept. I played the solo with multiple cameras, and then I went phrase by phrase and explained it. That video got 100,000 views in a week or something. Out of the blue. I have no clue why, right? So I was like, why does it happen? Is it because it's night and day? Couldn't be that, right? Is it because it's jungle solo? Couldn't be that either, because I made plenty jungle solos after it. And even though I knew it couldn't be any of those things, I made another video with another jungle solo of night and day. And of course, that video got like 2,000 views. So you cannot be in control of what gets views. It's a YouTube algorithm, and I have no idea how it works. I think only Mr. Beast knows how it works. Right, so don't spend too much time worrying about it. And I know it's easy to say, it's much harder to do that, because once you get the views, you're kind of addicted to it. I understand, but yeah, be careful.
I get back to the original intention behind the channel, right? Just put up raw practice sessions.
Yeah, good.
Right? Just that's it. It's just a record of someone's hopeful growth, and that's it. So
what I want to say, so I'm not making this video now, which you see on YouTube, because I'm hoping to get lots of views or I think this is good content. I mean, I do think it's good content, but I actually am sincerely interested in what you have to say, what Gabriel has to say, because he's talking about my books, right? I'm sincerely interested, and I like the process of thinking about what he says and reacting to it and thinking about my own progress. And every time I make a reaction video, it's because I'm completely interested in what the person has to say. That's why there's not 10 reaction videos a day. I'm not just reacting to anything I find. It has to be a video that's really talking about subjects I like. Yeah.
The funny thing is that when I was gone for 2 weeks and didn't practice, didn't upload anything, the subscriber count went up. I feel like it was YouTube's way of trying to entice me back.
Maybe, yeah.
Came back, started uploading again.
Who knows?
Flatlined. So, I hate that I care.
Yeah, me too.
But there it is. I mean, I don't care enough to make other kinds of content. Right? I'm not going to start doing lessons anytime soon.
Good.
But
you could still, by the way, because you asked me that, you could still make some other kind of content that you like to make. Just be careful that you don't start making it because you think that gets views. I mean, part of it that will be part of it, right? That you can never get away from that. But it's good that if you focus on making content that you like to make. So if you think, you know what, I would really like to make content where I change my strings, then do it, right? Because you like it. But if the video gets 1 million views, then don't start making weekly videos where you take another kind of guitar and change the strings. Because I promise you will get fed up with it and you will get less views and it will be depressing. So you have to find a balance, but make sure that the balance is heavily slanted towards what you like to make.
There you go. Things I think about when making this channel. All right, so I always like to end with where I want to be a month from now. So I got back from my trip and started practicing fairly consistently.
Good.
Although not hitting 2 hours each time, so I want to get back to a consistent 2 hours. That's where I want to be a month from now. Again, I'll make, hopefully it's not an empty promise, but I want to get back to the community tab. I do like posting the comments, I like gathering them in one place. What else? Oh, I also want to start submitting book 3 exercises. So,
nice.
I'm not sure how long this book is going to take me to finish. It feels harder than book 2.
Definitely.
But that could just be because I haven't done it for very long. But I do want to start submitting book 3 exercises. So maybe a month from now, I'll have finished maybe 3 chapters. That might be a stretch, but they're sort of in progress right now. And if I can get this triplet lick down,
wow, I
should be able to do it.
You're going to do that chapter, huh? That's
fairly
difficult.
Quickly. So we'll see. That is all I could think of for my progress report. So
you heard that, David Schenkerman? He's a 1-star Superjet Grandmaster. Gabriel's coming for your first place, man. And better start working. I know you're working on the Bible book, right? So
If you have any comments or questions, send me a message or leave me a comment. I respond to all of them, good and bad, encouraging and critical. That's all. Until next time, if you play an instrument, keep practicing, and I will see you. Well, I'll post tomorrow, but I'll talk to you in a month.
Nice video, of course. Great video as usual. Great thoughts. Really enjoyed this video. So if you haven't found his channel yet, it's called Just a Dude Practicing. There's a link in the description. Go give him a sub. He's giving me monthly great videos to react to, which is great content for my channel. I'm kind of stealing his content to do it, but hopefully, I know he doesn't mind. Oh, so Dave says, you're almost done with Major Loop 3. Oh, good. But, you know, there's now several people working. And today there will be a new Super Jazz Grandmaster, and he did it pretty quickly, a good player. So he's going to get another book for free. I wonder which book he's going to take. Probably book 2 or... Because he's leveling in book 3. So he's going to do book 2, book 4. So he's a hard worker. So I'm expecting him to get on that leaderboard soon as well. Interesting times. No? Anyway, for the people on YouTube, thank you for watching. Again, go give him a sub, give him a comment so he can post that comment on his community tab. And if you like my reaction, you could also sub to my channel. I haven't asked for that for a long time because I forget. You can sub to my channel because I'm addicted to those subs, y'all. No, if you sub on my channel, it would be great. Maybe you can comment. Maybe you can. Maybe you have some advice for Gabriel or me. That's all fine. So for the people on YouTube, I will see you all in the next video. Bye.